Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashantae, and on Mondays I review Insecure. If you guys want to find out what I think about episodes 2, stay tuned. I feel like at the beginning of the season, a lot of guys flipped out because they were going to talk about toxic masculinity, and I think a lot of guys assumed that toxic masculinity was just the interaction between the black men and black women. And so I read on a lot of the blogs and a lot of the tweets how, the dynamic between black men and black women and how it was going to mess up the show and how nobody wanted to watch it. But this episode, we see Daniel has huge insecurities too, which isn't necessarily toxic. The episode starts with Issa sitting at her desk, right? So Issa sends Daniel a text message, essentially asking him, like, where were you? Are you cool? And he sends back this, yeah, fine, thanks. And so she was, she's like, oh, okay. And in this time, she's trying to find an apartment. And I absolutely know what it's like when you're on somebody's couch and you're just kind of like, everything's kind of going against me, And so you just want to be respectful and you want to, you just want to let them know that you're appreciative of what they're doing. So I definitely know and feel what Issa's going through. As far as Daniel goes, I can understand. I feel like Daniel's hurt, and Daniel has like a lot of, oh, that's it. I think Daniel is doing his whole phase at Vanessa's house. And Vanessa is the girl that he's been sleeping with. And so Vanessa, I feel like, is in her hoe stage too. And she just kind of wants Daniel to move on. Vanessa's like, I gave you a place to stay for 3 nights and now it's time to go. And I think that's another thing that a lot of guys don't realize, that most girls don't need them. And it was funny because Daniel was trying to talk to her and explain to her how, he's going to this club to meet this artist, he wants to work with this artist, and Vanessa just has no time for him. Vanessa is just like, yeah, dude, please leave. And then she talks about Lonzo Ball and Alexander Shipp, who are both 2 light-skinned people. And then she's like, oh, I love light-skinned love. And he's not light-skinned, so it's just like he's getting played at his own game. And then we see Issa in her meeting at work. So this scene had me insanely triggered. I'm from a town called Swanee, Georgia, and before the Olympics, it was the country, and it was just weird, and post-Olympics, it turned into the suburbs. And this whole meeting was just like every job I've had where it's insanely, all the cards are stacked against you and you know it, but you're outnumbered. And to speak up on all the times that either it's microaggression, either it's blatant racism, but it happens a lot, and to be that person to be like, oh, well, no, this is actually racist. Oh, well, no, you can't say that either. Oh, this is, you sound angry and you sound like you're no fun. This matter at We Got Y'all is that a lot of the schools that they were trying to partner with don't want to partner with them anymore because the sign's racist. They even said like everybody who came in was rude, so, and then Joanne, the boss, is just so tone deaf, and just, you look in her office and it's all African stuff and all like, apartheid, something in the bag about like banish apartheid or something. And so she is like the Rachel Dolezal of that office. She wants to be like for the black people and she wants to help black people so much, but in her attempt to help black people, she's being racist. Like, it's not a handout, it's a hand out. And so they start talking about how they can make the poster less racist and how they can make the We Got Y'all experience more inclusive. And the girl, there's always that one girl who's like, you should ask the black person in the room who this might affect. Again, I totally felt Issa in this. Well, maybe you should ask Issa. And Issa was like, oh, now you want to ask me. No. And then bam, skips 2, and she's just, I think you guys made some really great points, and I thank you. And I was just like, I felt for her, and I wasn't even gonna be, it's not even one of those, oh my gosh, Issa, no. I totally felt what she was going through, So Issa is in Kelly's office, and I think Kelly's like some kind of financial planner, and Issa is just struggling, and when Kelly finds out Issa's buying her groceries at Rite Aid, Kelly just looks so upset. She's like, Kelly is looking through Issa's finances to see how much money Issa has saved and if she can afford to live on her own. And so Kelly's looking at Issa's finances and she's like, Liz, Radio Shack isn't even around anymore. And she's like, Rite Aid? Are you buying your groceries at Rite Aid? And Issa said she's buying her underwear there too. Hey, don't knock where you get underwear. But Kelly is now telling Issa that she needs to stay where she's at. And once she finds out that Issa isn't paying rent, Kelly goes through a list of things that Issa could be. She's like, are you a concubine? She's like, you wake up and it's in her mouth. Oh my gosh. She's like, are you a concubine? Do you wake up and it's in your mouth? Do you shake it a little bit? Kelly has me rolling like every episode she's in. I just know it's gonna be a good time. But Issa's like, no. No, I'm not doing any of that. And then they talk, and at the end of it, Kelly was like, Issa, my grandmother always said, never look a gift horse in the dick. And it's no funny. But the saying is, never look a gift horse in the mouth. And my mom, oh God, my mom would always tell me. My mom would always tell me, never look a gift horse in the mouth. And I never thought to. The two are so similar though. Because I mean, if a dude is out a place to stay for free with no sex and he's your friend, like he's truly your friend and you're not gonna have sex, he's staying there for free, then girl, just stay there. Like they both need each other at this time. They both need each other a lot. Case in point, Issa goes back to Daniel's house, right? And so Issa is cleaning up Daniel's apartment and she's just cleaning, you know how dudes live. And so she moves the toaster and she's like, is that hair? And I have curly hair, you can see. I have tight, coily 4C hair, and my hair oftentimes looks like a bug. And this scene, however just simple it was just so perfect. Because who has hair behind the toaster? She was so cool with seeing hair behind the toaster, but it was really a spider. It's a dead spider. And she takes the bottle of cleaner and she sprays this. Okay, so Daniel comes back to his house and she's like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh yeah, you live here. And then he gets a text message that the dude he's supposed to be meeting is canceling, right? He can't come to this club, right? So he then starts to get like all hyphy and stuff, and he's like, oh gosh, I don't want to be chasing this dude, and I don't want to be doing this. And I feel like a lot of times, that's another thing, guys I feel like in my humble experience, a lot of guys do that, and you're just like, well, just go to the club. Just go to the, if that's where he says he's meeting you at, then just go. Why don't you just go? No, I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. And Issa's like, well, I'll go with you. And she's like, you've been helping me out so much. It only makes sense that I return the favor. Good thing she did, because they get to the club and she called the guy List. She calls him List, and they get to the club and they're not on the list, right? And so the guy's like, what's your name? And he's like, Daniel King. And he's like, nope, not on it. And then Issa's like, oh, maybe you should tell me your producer name. And he was like, Daniel King. And he's like, not on it. So then Issa sees a friend that she went to high school with, and he's on the list. And she's like, oh, oh, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, Issa. She's like, we're at the club. He's like, I see you haven't changed. Issa sees a friend that she went to high school with, and she's like, oh, hey, what's up? Totally forgot his name. Oh, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, Issa, how are you? And she's like, oh, you know, good, trying to get in this club, but List won't let us in. And he was like, oh man, I got you. And, you know, he looks at Daniel and he's like, hey man, what have you been up to? And Daniel's just like, that thing guys do, like, and so the guy's like, okay, cool. And he was like, so what are you guys doing? And he says like, oh, you know, we're trying to get in the club, but List won't let us in. And so that guy ends up getting them into the club, right? And Issa sees that the guy that Daniel wants to talk to is talking to Issa's friend. So Issa does Daniel a solid and goes over and she interrupts that conversation so Daniel can now talk to that guy, right? So she does this by saying, Facebook tells me you have a kid. He pulls out his phone and he shows her a picture of his 4-year-old. And she goes, wow, he's big for 4. And the guy goes, it's the chicken. There's steroids in chicken. And I don't know if that was a part of the joke, but there was a study a few years ago about the steroids that they put in chicken. So you see them at a diner sharing chili fries, and then we see Daniel's frustration and how he feels as like an artist who hasn't really worked, but he's worked, but nobody's seen his work. And I could totally relate. To that feeling of being an artist and wanting to work and share your work, but things keep coming up in the way. And I liked seeing him vulnerable like that. This episode made Daniel's character more human for me, you know, because I feel like oftentimes in TV shows, like, the dude's like always hard and rough and he's not, like, he's always masculine, he always knows what to do and he always has the answer to everything. But here, you know, Daniel's just like, I'm frustrated and this is my frustration and you know, nothing's happening for me, and I respect the character Daniel more, you know. Aniobi, the writer of this episode, like, so good. This was such a good episode. After they went to the diner, they go back to Daniel's house, and Issa's getting ready for bed, and Issa's saying how, like, she's like, you know, my back hurts, my neck hurts, blah, 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 your couch is uncomfortable, I'm grateful, but it's uncomfortable. And then Daniel's like, I mean, you can sleep in my bed, I'm gonna be staying up, and, you know, you can sleep in my bed. And she's like, okay, cool. So I feel like after their conversation and after their brush of death, he has like this whole new, like, rejuvenation. Like, I feel like him getting connected with Issa's friend kind of lifted this, because you could tell he was stressed, you know what I mean? Because I feel like it lifted the stress of his job, you know? I don't know. Issa then, instead of going to sleep in his bed, she sits next to him because he's at his desk and he's listening to music. And I just thought that was a great way to end the episode. I love the show so much. Oh my gosh. Such a great episode. And the lighting and the cinematography, oh my gosh, there were so many times during this episode where I wanted to screenshot it because it was just so beautiful. It just looked beautiful when they're at the club and it was like blue light on black skin. It looked so good. It looked really good. I love this episode. Yeah, so I rubbed off all of my makeup. So that is what I think about episode 2 of Insecure. You guys, this season just freaking started and it's already so good. And I liked how I liked how they didn't go like jump around, you know? And also, I loved how it didn't take 4 episodes for Daniel to come to the realization that it's cool to ask for help sometimes. And Issa even said, she's like, you know, it's cool to ask for help. Or did Issa say that? Or am I projecting? For help. I love this episode. I can't wait for it. But see, I feel like this is what happens when women write. You know? Okay, guys, if you enjoyed this recap of episode 2, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next Monday.